think it's time we introduce this warbird to the biggest kid on the block.
You heard the Cap. Target those disruptors.
Coming up, Ensign Boimler and his Lower Decks pals take role play to the next level as they act out an action fantasy film inside the holodeck.
I need answers.
Then you see Kitty-ya.
What the hell does finding some weirdo have to do with your story?
We're gonna go find the meaning of life. This is important.
But Boimler's plans change when he gets some tragic news.
I think we have to kidnap that octopus and take it to a safe house.
Tindy shows off her incredible leadership skills.
The randomness of death is merely a reflection of the unexpected joys we find in life.
And Sulu, Captain Sulu, makes a surprise appearance.
All this and more, plus a sneak peek at the action-packed Picard Season 3 promo on the Lower Decks edition of Energize.
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 We're satirically going into the uncharted regions of the Star Trek universe.
You're listening to Energize, a Star Trek Lower Decks edition podcast, your source for hilarious analysis, colorful debate, and fun discussions about the adventures of Ensign Beckett Mariner and the USS Cerritos Lower Decks crew.
I'm your host, Anthony McLemore.
And I'm Steve Truitt.
This week, Boimler goes on an exhaustive search for the meaning of life when devastating news puts a damper on a holodeck movie role play with his shipmates.
Will Boimler find the answers he seeks or sink further into despair?
Here's a warp speed recap of Episode 8 of Star Trek Lower Decks, Crisis Point 2, Paradox.
Crisis Point 2 is twice as good as the original. Commander Doodle, I think it's time we introduce this warbird to the biggest kid on the block.
You heard the Cap. Target those disruptors.
Kitty-ya has the true answers for life's most important question.
I need answers.
Then you see Kitty-ya.
What the hell does finding some weirdo have to do with your story?
We're gonna go find the meaning of life. This is better than what I wrote. This is important.
This is stupid.
Oh, shut up! I went along with your stupid movie, which, by the way, didn't even have a real ending.
How dare you? It was epic.
You should be thanking me for turning your mess into a classy story that means something.
I officially disown Crisis Point.
Commanders, the asset has been obtained.
Excellent. Destroy this joke of a Federation ship. Leave no survivors.
All right, Steve, so we come into the cold open of the show right in the middle of an epic battle where the Cerritos is under attack by a Romulan warbird. I was stoked.
I know, me too. You open it up and it's got that really exciting music, and they're fighting against. The first thing you see is the Cerritos is getting its butt kicked. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh yeah, so you're my interest is stoked. I'm like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah.
They're getting beaten down. Is this the Packlids 2.0? But it's the
Right.
Romulans this time, and so they're getting beat down and they're getting boarded.
Yeah, and I love how it's these three identical-looking Romulan women who are the commanders, I guess, and they're giving orders to destroy the Cerritos. And they even say that joke of a Federation ship, and leave no survivors. It was so funny. And even everyone knows that they're kind of a joke.
What were the Melpomene triplets after this time?
The Chronogami, a top-secret Starfleet prototype which can penetrate temporal barriers.
And so the Romulan boarding party steals this artifact and they kill one of the scientists. So I'm like, oh my God, this is like real. This is like to the next level.
Well, okay, sir, there's another Federation ship coming in, and of course that's a reminder of like when the Borg was attacking the Defiant. And sir, there's another Federation ship coming in, and it was the Enterprise. In this case, it is a Sovereign-class ship, but it's not the Enterprise, it's the Wayfarer.
So the Wayfarer flies in, and at the helm is Captain Bucephalus Dagger.
Yeah,
awesome name.
Fantastic
And he
name.
looks like Ensign Boimler.
Right, he's got the purple hair, and I'm like, is this the brother? Is this like somebody else? Is it a twin, a doppelganger? And
All universe, something.
Yeah,
what's going on
and
here?
They go to the credits. I'm like, what's happening?
Thought the chronogamy was theoretical.
Well, consider the theory proved. And now the Romulans have it, and I'd bet my pips they're going
Computer,
to use
freeze
it.
program.
Ensign Boimler, please report to Commander Ransom's office.
On my way.
I thought you were off duty.
I am. Ransom just probably wants me to spot him.
So we find out the Romulans took a device called the chronogamy, a
Right.
top-secret Starfleet prototype capable of penetrating temporal barriers. So here we are with time travel.
Time travel, because
Once again.
that's what you do. That's what one does, is time travel. And then we this communication chime comes in, and we're realizing that, of course, we're on the holodeck. Computer, arch, all of that.
Yes, and I really like the holodeck. I mean, it would take role play to the next level because all these things will be happening around you. So not only are you role playing, but you're actually living it out.
Well, the funny thing about it, too, is that they're calling it a movie. Now, we saw this before with Crisis Point, the original one that Mariner had done. And they're in the middle of, they're calling it a movie, which I think is fascinating.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wish this technology did exist because it would be so much fun to play out all of your favorite movies. I put myself on Crimson Tide.
Oh my God, it's one of my favorite movies ever, Crimson Tide. Dude, I didn't
we've talked about this
you.
before.
Oh, okay, I forgot that. Maybe.
Yes,
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
We see Boimler, Rutherford, Tindy, and Mariner, playing parts in what is Boimler's sequel to Mariner's original film. So this is Crisis Point 2.
Right. And this is where you hear that Wrath of Khan, but that Wrath of Khan music, which is just so great. Boimler,
Right, and that's where I picked up on it because the graphics were the same too.
Yeah. Maybe that's when I heard it. I guess. The graphics were. No. The credits were like First Contact. Where they kind of came in from the dust, not the dust, but like a cloud, and then they formed. That was First Contact credits.
Oh, the auteur has returned. What did Ransom want?
Just reassigning duty shifts.
Oh, the credits are ending. Let's get back in character. Rutherford.
So obviously, Boimler's called away, and he comes back, and he's bummed.
Yeah,
and Mariner's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, all the enthusiasm that he had for his film, because I think part of this doing the sequel to Mariner's film was to show that he could write a film just as good as hers.
Persepolis. Oh, you have got some nerve never calling me back after that weekend on Risa.
Oh, spicy.
Oh, so this gorgeous scientist is the estranged love interest? Yeah, sure.
I'm here for your research, not your heart.
Back to the movie. At this point, the movie's continuing, but now Boimler's like, he's just there. He's not excited, and he's like, and the other three are like, let's go do this stuff, and he's like, yeah, I don't know. He's not really into it at all.
Yeah, he's basically kind of phoning in every scene that he's in. He's just kind of mouthing the words and kind of like, yeah, whatever, blah 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 blah. And so yeah, I'm wondering, something seriously happened to him. Why is he not stoked for this?
And you're going to find out. I'm really curious. Like, what's going on here? What's the deal? Like, you should tell us.
Whoa, these graphics are mind-blowing!
The chronogami's gravitons essentially fold world lines, allowing a user to travel to the past or the future.
We learn that the crew of the Cerritos and the Wayfarer are tasked with getting the chronogami, which is such a great word, back before the Romulans travel to the past, of course, to eradicate the Federation from existence.
Yeah, so here's our plot. Here's our main movie plot. It's all set for us. So once again, Boimler's going off script, and he's talking about, life being wiped from existence in the blink of an eye, and you're in your bed, and all of a sudden, poof,
Right.
you no longer exist.
All of a sudden, you're gone. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's being a real downer here. He's got his mission in hand. They know what they've got to do. They've got to set a course for this planet. And Boimler he's just like, okay, I'll do it. He's got this love scene. They land. They come to this research center, and this again, this really hot girl comes onto him, and he just doesn't even notice. Just like when he was a raisin farmer back a few episodes ago, and he's just got all these girls all over him. He's like, yeah, whatever. He doesn't even notice.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that the holodeck is adapting as they are interacting with the movie. And so this love interest is like, I don't know what to do next. She's just kind of...
Yeah, I'm just here.
Yeah, I'm just here. So that was hilarious. But Mariner is getting frustrated, and she's on his case about blowing the scripted love scene. Every movie has to have one, So the question continues, why is Boimler behaving in this manner?
Right. What was interesting, too, at the end when Boimler walks off, Mariner's there, and the holodeck lady asks... why, what will I do now? And I thought maybe, there'd be a moment where, Mariner does something, but no, there wasn't.
No, she's just ready to get to the action and let's get going.
Do you feel lost in your way? Let Manuki guide you.
We have to find the Romulans or the universe could cease to exist.
We're all holograms in a simulation.
The koala smiles on us all.
So in the movie, they go down to this planet, and the Cerritos and Wayfarer crews are walking in these crowded market streets, trying to hunt down the Romulans.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if you remember this, but in Next Generation, when Troy and Picard played Romulan spies and they were looking for Spock on Romulus, that kind of reminded me of that when they were, walking around looking for him. But they come across a fortune teller, and it's so great because Boimler's like, why are you talking to these people? They're just background actors. And I think at one point, one guy, when they walked by who was homeless, he's screaming, we're all just simulations. Like
yes.
A crazy person would in a video game. And he was right.
Yeah. And there was this character called Knick Knack.
Yeah, Knick Knack. So great. And Mariner, the running joke throughout the rest of the show is that Mariner keeps getting his name wrong, which is just so fantastic.
Okay, boys, come on. We have a movie to do, man. We don't have time to chat up the extras.
It's an adaptive program. The holodeck's creating meaning for these guys.
Grab cycles, mount up.
Oh, hell yeah. Now we're talking. Dude, come on, we gotta grab.
So Mariner's, continuing to get frustrated, and she's reminding Boimler that these characters aren't integral to the story, and they're just background. So, why do we keep fussing with that?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Tindy, Rutherford, Captain Freeman, and some of the other Cerritos crew go on this action-filled chase. They're on these hover bikes.
Such a blast. And just, they're like, here we go, right? Mariner's pissed. She wants to go with them, right? She wants to take on this mission. And Boimler wants to take a new mission and give Tindy command. So Tindy, of course, is like, of course I want to do that.
And so they're off, and then Boimler is like on this newfound mission to find the meaning of life. And he said, he's like, this is...
Which is why he sought out that guy.
Yeah, so this is more important for him than the action-packed movie that he wrote.
Oh, damn it! They've crossed the origamic threshold, and if we follow, we may never be able to get back to our own time.
We have to. For Starfleet!
So, back to Tindy and company. She's having a blast, pulling death-defying moves a la Trinity, in the Matrix. And they catch up to the Romulans, who then, when they see them activate this chronogami, and it's funny because when they do, it opens up and it looks like origami. And they go back in time to change the past. Yeah,
it's so funny to me, these little jokes that they put in there. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna be really literal with this one. So that was pretty funny. But the thing is that Tindy really takes charge at this moment and leads the chase,
which I think. I don't know if that was written in, but it seems like they're, like you said, the holodeck is adapting, and it seems like they're adapting with Captain, whatever his name was, Boimler, off on his own thing. Yeah, it's great to see Tindy taking charge and just, in a way, she is like that pirate character she was trying to escape, that all Orions are, but she's doing it in a good way.
Where are we? 2341. We're smack dab in the middle of the goddamn algae crisis.
This is the science center where Ambassador Koro was able to communicate with the algaic slime mine.
So Tindy and company go back to the year 2041 during this algae crisis. It's a critical point. So you have this octopus that is somehow the linchpin for food production for the Federation.
He's brought his people to the Federation too. That's a big deal. So Tindy takes the role very seriously, but Rutherford isn't. He's just kind of like, this is fun, right? He's like, it's great. I'm having a great time. And Tindy's like, you're not even upset. He's like, no,
Yeah, he's like screwing with all these scenes, and it's really irritating. Tindy.
She really is in this great leadership role, and I like that Rutherford's kind of back to being Rutherford. We had that moment where, we saw the previous Rutherford, so that's interesting.
Yeah, but there are little bits of his old self that I feel like are bleeding through it, because he makes a couple of off-color remarks here and there that remind me of his younger self.
Okay, can we please get back to the real movie? Tindy and Ruthy could be like, I don't know, in ancient Egypt riding crocodiles without us.
Illustor, how do we get to Katiha?
To that, I have a fascinating answer. And the answer is this answer that's about to be coming now.
He's stalling.
So, meanwhile, Boimler is seeking out an all-knowing being that's going to give him the answers that he's looking for.
Yeah, and Mariner's just getting more and more pissed off, with this deviation from the script, and then that causes Boimler to go off, and he rips her film.
Yeah, right. He trashes Crisis Point, part 1, I guess. So Mariner's like, screw this, I'm out. She leaves the holodeck and just goes to her evaluation with Ransom, which goes pretty well in the beginning. Yeah,
and I think sidebar here. Mariner has been falling in line the whole season since she's been since Ransom was put in charge of her by her mother, and her review is great. So there's this evolution of Mariner as with all the other characters. So it doesn't become
will
this.
That stick? Will it stick?
That's the $1 million question. We will see. We have 2 more episodes left. I'm sure some wrecking ball is going to fly out from nowhere and bash all of this.
I think it might, yeah. And Miley Cyrus will be on top of the wrecking ball, naked.
I figured he would have told you. William, his transporter clone on the Titan, died this morning.
What? Died? What?
Freak gas leak. Neurocene flooded his quarters. He was asleep. Hell of a way to go.
So, like you said, Ransom's like, you're doing a good job. But then, through the course of his conversation, they find out, Ransom tells Mariner, you didn't know this? Boimler's, not a twin, it was the replicator.
His transporter clone.
Transporter, thank you.
Yeah, kind of like how William Riker in The Next Generation, he had his transporter clone.
And Thomas Riker, exactly.
Thomas Riker, yep.
Mm-hmm. His transporter clone just dies of natural gas exposure in his sleep.
Yeah, not in battle, not anything heroic or anything like that. But I like the fact that Ransom actually cares. He's like, you didn't know? Have you spoken with your friend? And it shows a different side of Ransom, not just being this meathead all the time.
An ancestor of Ambassador Koro is inside that aquarium. They're going to take out his whole family line.
Oi, drop the shiny gizmo, mate. Stepped in the wrong place. It's our turf, mate.
Look, we don't want any witnesses.
So back to the movie. I love that they call it a movie. Tindy and her friends land back in the 20th century, and this is so great. They're in Sydney, Australia. You could tell because you've got not only the opera house in the background, but the characters talking to them are Australian. And it was so great.
So they're there because they need to save the octopus ambassadors, ancestors to save the future. It was just a trip, and in the midst of all that, they get robbed by a bunch of Australians.
Exactly. I fully expected one of them to say, now this is a knife. But no, that didn't happen.
Yeah, that was a trip.
But they kicked their ass. It was great.
Yeah, and then, and I think it, correct me if I'm wrong, is it at that point that Rutherford, in the midst of all this fighting, he walks up with a sandwich? No, he takes her clothes.
No, yeah. He wants the shirt and the pants, right? And he's pulling off the pants. Not a shirt. He puts on a vest. He's like, this is great. I want to wear this.
He's like, we got to play out the role. He's just, he's just like half-heartedly going through this and making a complete joke of it, but having a good time. You're right.
Hello? Boimler? Captain Dagger?
Intruder! Capture the non-believer!
Don't touch me. Your characters don't even have names.
So now we get back to the movie, and Mariner is back. And she's captured. She jumps back in, and they capture her, and she's thrown into the brig. And who's there in the brig already but Boimler?
Yeah. And so they have this heart-to-heart where they talk about the loss of Boimler's transporter clone, William. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, now we understand why he feels like the death was just kind of wasted in a way that a Klingon would feel, that it wasn't in battle or didn't have any meaning behind it. And so now he's just kind of like, what the hell? What's the purpose? Why am I here? What's this deal called life?
Yeah.
And so Mariner encourages him to let's go ahead and finish it out.
So he gets pumped back up, luckily. His and Mariner's friendship, I think, is awesome. And so they get out and they get into a fist fight with the characters in the film, which, leads Boimler to the location of the deity that he has all the answers, which is this funny mountain thing.
Yeah, this guy had a map on his body.
And it's like soggy body.
Yeah.
And he takes off all his clothes. It's disgusting. It was really hysterical.
Ugh.
Careful, that bomb has a hair trigger.
Wait, how does this play into the octopus stuff?
I think the Romulans gave up on that. Now they're just trying to blow up the Founders before they found the Federation.
So in another part of the film, Tindy leads the team to the 21st century on the day of the founding of the Federation. Of course, this is a great story plot. Of course, the Romulans would go here to kill off the Federation in the past so it doesn't exist in the future by blowing up the foundation, the founding day, Founders Day, basically. And so, you're right. I think that's when Rutherford came in with the sandwich.
He was up on the top of the thing. He's looking around. And they're like, are you eating a sandwich? He's like, I'm hungry. And so she gets pissed at him.
Oh, yeah.
And the Romulans start shooting.
Yeah, and then the doctor jumps in the way and takes a fatal shot, And Tindy's like really crying.
For a second, I was like, wait a second. Are we still on the holodeck? Or is this real? Like, I lost track of what was happening. And, of course the doctor wouldn't throw her body in there, but it was funny that that happened. And, for Tindy, apparently this was serious. Yeah, she was really bummed.
Yeah, and so for her, doing this role play is everything. And she basically blurts out that, she wants to be a captain.
Right. And I don't know why I wasn't shocked by this. It reminds me of Tilly on Discovery. The way that they developed her character. She's kind of a fun-loving lady, but yeah, she could be a captain too. Remember how they kind of built her character those first couple of years?
Yeah. Exactly. But we've been seeing since last season, Tindy's ascension, and I think she's a good mix. I mean, the pirate pass is a good thing. That means that she knows how to get scrappy. She's not just all hopeful walking around, but she's a good mix of positivity, assertiveness, and a bit of aggression wrapped in one. And I think that's what you need to be a captain in this universe.
Destroy this joke of a Federation ship. Joke's on you. Identify yourself. Who is this?
This is Acting Captain Mina Vesper.
You're too late. With the Chronogami, we will destroy everything you hold dear.
That would be true if you had the Chronogami and not your own bomb.
And I think, when this series ends, we're going to see everybody's arc be tremendous. And who knows where Tindy's going to go. But I think they all will end up leaving the Cerritos in one way or another. But, it's good, too, to see her get this pissed and then get upset because Rutherford finally realizes how much she's taking this seriously, and he gets in line pretty darn quick.
Yeah, and then Tindy comes up with a brilliant plan, and she takes a page out of the Romulans book and jumps back to the battle between the Romulans and the Cerritos at the beginning of the film. Right.
So now she's the captain of the Wayfarer, which, by the way they, the graphics, I don't know if this is cartooning or if this is computer-generated cartoon. Should I not say cartoon? Should I say graphic? But that Sovereign class ship is one of, if not my favorite design, and it was so beautiful. It was so gorgeous to see it on film like that. But yeah,
because it looks like a spearhead. It's really aggressive.
Yes, and it's very aerodynamic. So when the Romulans took the Chronogami, Tindy switched it out with a bomb, right? And if you remember Galaxy Quest, at the end when I can't remember the name of the leader, the bad guy, of Saris. Saris is heading toward, they're playing chicken with each other, and the Tim Allen character goes, my ship is dragging mines, and he pulls up and the mines hit the ship. That reminded me of that. She's like, Tindy says, you don't seem to realize that we switched out with your bomb. And it was I did not see that coming. It was awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. And, Tindy really got a chance to assert herself. And, she looks like a captain. I would follow her.
I would too. I really dig that. And that was a great moment. So we get to the end of Boimler's quest. Mariner and Boimler, they arrive on a planet to meet with this deity who's supposed to have all the answers. Kind of like, I think you pointed this out, Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, where they're looking for God.
Yes, of course, the ill-fated Star Trek V. Here we are.
that which we don't speak of, yeah.
I am Kitty Ha. You have journeyed far. What truth do you seek?
A man named William Boimler died. It was meaningless. What is life for?
The purpose of life is a life of purpose.
Okay, but what about what I was asking?
First of all, the entity looks just silly. It's like this two-dimensional rock monster that he could start digging into.
Yeah, and the deity's name is Kitty Ha.
Kitty Ha, right? And you're like, what does that even mean?
Yes.
And then he gives him a riddle. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. And he's like, okay, anything else?
Yeah, and it was just a string of inspirational quotes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's so great. He gets so pissed. He just starts pounding away at the thing, and you can see that he's pounding away at the coding, I guess, of the holodeck itself.
Yep, and he climbs inside the deity, and he sees something in there, and it says Kitty Ha, and he kind of wipes away the dirt from it, and the reveal is the actual Kitty Hawk.
Yeah, the location of where the Wright brothers flew, which is like V'ger, for Star Trek I, the original Voyager.
Yes, exactly. Great.
And he loses it. Yeah.
Page.
Yeah.
And then he loses it and he passes out.
Is this heaven? The afterlife? The Nexus?
It's Idaho. Would you like to feed the horsey?
Sure. I didn't program any of this. I was in the holodeck trying to find meaning in the randomness of death, but I just made a fool of myself.
So he wakes up and then he's in Idaho and a la Star Trek Generations.
Correct.
And he thinks that he's about to meet, Captain Kirk, and it's who?
Captain Sulu. Oh my. Oh my. Well, I knew it was Sulu because when you heard a distant voice, it wasn't Kirk's voice, it was Sulu. But he walks in and he's like, oh my God, it's Captain Sulu, and he's brushing the horse.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So that's always welcome. I love the cameos that they've been putting out there this season. They've been fantastic. So it was great to see George Takei back in action.
Yeah. What does he finally tell him at the end?
Yeah, he kind of gives him a riddle, but I guess it resonates more with Boimler than Mr. Kitty Ha there. But he says the randomness of death is a reflection of the unexpected joys we find in life.
Yeah,
and
I think that one sticks with him. And what I loved too, I think every second of this show is purposeful, and not like the quotes that we heard, but like they don't waste anything. And so the best part about that scene for me at the end was Sulu goes, and now the horsey will bite you. And the horse just bites him, but not on the ass where I thought he was going to do it, on his neck, right in the neck. And then you're like, and then they quick dissolve to him getting a hypo in the neck and he's waking up. I loved it.
He was dehydrated and passed out.
You know what, Boims? Maybe this was a good sequel to Crisis Point.
Aw, thanks, Mariner.
I'm glad you didn't end it on some dark cliffhanger. I like happy endings.
Ugh, cliffhangers are the worst. I hate when people do that.
But, Boimler's like, still kind of sad. He's just like, my movie was a failure. But all his friends, Mariner loved it, and so did everybody else.
Yeah. That was... And he's like, oh, wow, who knew that? So, and at the end, he's like, well, at least I'm not going to end it with some stupid cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And they kind of fade to black. And what happens?
Unexpected cliffhanger.
A cliffhanger.
There you go.
An unexpected cliffhanger, which was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It worked.
Welcome, William. Starfleet now considers you a dead man. Just how we like it.
So we see the Defiant floating in space, and we find ourselves aboard, and there's a casket a la Spock.
Boimler.
Yeah,
William.
yeah.
Right.
A la Spock, the casket, a torpedo tube. And it opens, and William Boimler's in the casket.
And he wakes up, and the guy goes, it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
And it turns out that apparently his death was some kind of ruse.
Yep. Starfleet now thinks that William Boimler is dead, and he's handed an insignia, a communicator.
Black comm badge.
Yeah. We know what that is.
It's Section 31. And he says, why does Section 31 even have a comm badge? I mean, aren't you guys trying to, like, hide and stuff? And I love how Section 31 keeps showing up places. Like, they really just keep doing this everywhere. They've done it since the original series.
I love this one. This little reveal adds more potential for storylines.
For sure, and it's another story that we didn't see coming. I don't think. I kind of forgot about the whole William Boimler thing, and so yeah, this will be great. So Anthony, before we go, this week, all of us fans were treated to another action-packed sneak peek of Picard's Season 3 trailer.
Yes, it was like a huge birthday gift or Christmas gift or however you want to take it. It was a humongous gift, and it was epic.
Epic for a trailer, my God. And they are pulling out all the stops. You can tell this season's going to be incredible. Let's take a listen to that sneak peek.
Thank you.
Admiral.
I received a distress call from Beverly Crusher.
We are being hunted.
Who is it out there?
I don't know.
We must run.
From what?
Very precise with your timing, Jean-Luc Picard.
Fire!
You should know that I now prefer pacifism to combat. We're all gonna die.
They are blind to something big. It will be what it always was, attempts on your life.
Worf and Riker roped them into this too. I was once like her, irrational, violent. The forge! Gun it! Stay inside!
Aye, sir. There's a darkness on this ship. All-consuming darkness.
I'll peck and I'll jab. Everything that makes you, you. We will scorch the earth under which you stand, and the night will brighten with the ashes of the Federation. But first, we will have vengeance.
Fire everything we've got! Greetings, old friends.
Man, this was a movie quality trailer. friends of mine, I sent this to friends of mine. I sent the link out.
Yeah.
And people told me, it's like, oh my gosh, is this a movie? And I was like, no, it's the TV show. It's a TV show. And so I'm hyped.
I think you're right. I think what they're doing with this may be the fifth and final next generation film spread out over 10 episodes.
Exactly.
I think that's
and they're doing this right. They're going to give them the proper send off that they didn't get with Star Trek Nemesis.
With Nemesis,
and so you can tell they pull out all the stops on this, and it just left me hyped. So we start off in the trailer with Picard sitting there, and some people approach him. So basically, that's like, there's a problem. We need you.
And in previous previews, we heard Beverly Crusher, in distress, calling for Picard. So, he needs to get the band back together to go rescue Beverly. That's assuming that's what's happening.
Yeah, so the very next thing is we're aboard whatever starship this is with 7 of 9, and you hear him saying, we need to run.
Yeah.
We need to run. And this massive ship comes out of the clouds.
Oh, my God.
And starts kicking their ass.
Yes, now I think this is the Titan, I believe, because we know that 7 becomes captain of the Titan. But, yeah, they need to run. And the villain is revealed, and it's Amanda Plummer. Of all people.
Yeah, and she knows Picard. Now, I may have missed something in all the episodes of all the Next Generation shows, but I don't know who she is. Do you?
Not her character, no. I don't recall her being anywhere. I would have been more, or rather less surprised if it was Denise Crosby as the Romulan, daughter of Tasha Yar. But it's Amanda Plummer. We don't know who she is. She's got scars on her face. The alien ship looks a little bit like Nero's ship in 2009 Star Trek, J.J. Abrams. But yeah, man, and throughout the entire thing, it's like, we need to destroy Picard. We need to decimate him. We need to scorch the earth underneath him. But before we do that, we need to torture him, or I don't know, whatever it is. Just agonize.
Oh yeah, and so they're getting blown up, and so then we see Worf and Riker on the transporter.
Oh my God!
And he makes this declaration that he's for pacifism, over combat. And then as they're beaming, Riker goes, "We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die." Oh God, that was so great. And so they in previous previews, we didn't really see Geordi too much, but there he is wearing a yellow shouldered outfit. He's there, and he's like, who else are you bringing into this, right? He's like, you're just bringing everybody back. What's going on? And he seems to be...
Yeah, I got Worf, Riker, you brought them into this?
Yeah, what are you doing? And then... So it gets to this denouement, it's... And then suddenly everything stops, and we see what looks like a simulation, or there's some blue light, and this 1800s top hat, and the gentleman lifts his head, and it's Moriarty. Oh, and we saw him before, but just in this preview, he not only says, hello, old friends, but he lifts a pistol.
A flintlock.
Yes.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, and so then they show Picard, the title. They show the title sequence, and then all of a sudden, Geordi's looking through a window, and who appears?
Well, you think it's Data, and you're like, oh, Data, but wait a second, he died. And Geordi corrects us all by going, Lore.
But I do like the idea of bringing in lore, because maybe they'll have a good explanation, because they could have really computer generated to make him look younger if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's
Age
right.
regressed him.
Yeah, they could have done that. They've done that before.
Yes.
They did it actually with Patrick Stewart in one of the X-Men films, which was really interesting. Yeah. I just, and by the way, Energize will be there to cover season 3, the final season of Picard, which is the final season of the Next Generation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be thrilling.
Yeah. So I'm stoked, and as we discussed during Strange New Worlds, I met Jonathan Frakes, and he told me. He said he looked at me when we finished our chat. He said, "Trust me." He said, "This one's gonna be good. You better watch."
God. Oh my God! Yeah, you better watch. You don't have to tell me twice.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Aye. Captain.
Yes, sir. And if any of you follow us on Instagram, you can see that picture of Anthony standing next to Jonathan Frakes in a what is it? Where were you shopping?
Zara in the mall.
Okay, clothing store, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We were in a clothing store in the mall. So, yeah, it was a very random but really rewarding experience just because he was so nice and so cool and excited. The twinkle in his eyes about the season said it all, for me. So I'm all in. So this was fantastic. I can't wait. If anything else pops up, of course, we will discuss it.
That's a deal.
Well, that concludes this episode of Energize, a Lower Decks Edition podcast. If you want to hear more of our episodes, please check us out at www.energizepodcast, that's podcast with an S.com. Thanks for listening. I'm Anthony McLemore.
I'm Steve Truitt. Live long and prosper.
Yeah.
And cut.